A tragedy has occurred, which started right here with the taxation of trade routes, and has now engulfed our entire planet in the oppression of the Trade Federation. Tariffs, a tax on imports or exports, are imposed to either generate revenue for a government or to protect domestic industries from cheaper foreign competition. The concept of tariffs dates back to ancient Greece, where a 2% levy was placed on foreign grains entering the port of Piraeus. In fact, tariffs have likely existed in some form or another for millennia. But are they good? Most economists argue that tariffs are generally detrimental to economic growth. They can raise the cost of goods and services for both producers and consumers, often harming the industries that they're intended to protect. Tariffs disrupt supply chains, increase input costs, and worst of all, they often trigger retaliatory tariffs because, as the saying goes, turnabout is fair play. So why bring this up? Well, President Trump has decided to move forward with tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China, and is also pledging to place tariffs on Europe. And these aren't just small increases. He has ordered a 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican imports, and an additional 10% on already existing Chinese tariffs. In response, both China and Mexico have announced plans to impose their own retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. This has escalated international tensions, as trade restrictions are rarely seen as a friendly move. It has also caused concern among companies that rely on international trade, which in today's interconnected economy is nearly everyone. Many stocks, particularly those heavily dependent on imports and exports, have already been hit hard by this news. Now, you may be thinking, well, at least this doesn't affect me, but it's not that simple. Typically, tariffs end up trickling down to the consumer. Companies facing higher costs due to tariffs either absorb the extra expense or, more commonly, pass it on to consumers in the form of higher prices. This effect is compounded because even businesses that don't directly import or export goods are still part of a broader global supply chain. Think about all the products and services you use. How many of them are made up entirely of components sourced from the US? In our globalized economy, changes in cost typically affect the consumer in one way or another. As of now, President Trump may be pausing tariffs on Mexico for a month for further consideration. However, based on his track record, we can expect rapid and sometimes unexpected policy shifts. Personally, I believe any policy with such significant cost and political implications should be carefully considered. Hopefully, President Trump is having some in-depth discussions with his political and economic advisors this week before any of these new tariffs are imposed. Anyway, I'm Frank Ciopatini with Servetty Software, and I'll see you in the next video. Begun the tariff wars have.